Siomra
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to On Siomra Beag. Welcome back to the Tiny Room. Welcome back at this festive season for the last podcast of the year. I am festively the Michael of Michael and Benjamin's podcast, and I am joined by the man who sees you when you're sleeping. He sees when you're awake. He's a peeping Tom. It's Benjamin.
How are you there now? I'm watching you all. Watching you all. No, not really. Don't worry. Don't worry too much.
Ben, your intonation and cadence there were quite similar to the podcast Welcome to Night Vale.
Were they? Really?
Yeah. You were like a bit character in Welcome to Night Vale, the podcast, the better podcast, Welcome to Night Vale. In fact, you should just go listen to that now. Just, Merry Christmas. Thanks for listening. Go listen to Welcome to Night Vale. It's much better.
Well, Night Vale, very good. Not a great place to live, though.
No, terrible. Full of dog parks. Do not enter the dog park.
Do not enter the dog park or approach the hooded figures, Michael.
Yeah, exactly. Benjamin.
Yeah.
You know, though, the one thing we do have that is better than Night Vale.
Go on.
It's our bloody theme music.
Oh, yeah, it sounds a little bit like this.
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have any theme music.
Very good, yes. It's not bad. Night Vale has better theme music as well. But look, Benjamin, if we're going to go around comparing things, we might as well compare the TV show. I've forgotten what it's called, Helstrom. We might as well compare the TV show Helstrom to other TV shows.
I mean, we may as well, Michael. We may as well.
So, Benjamin, as you know, Helstrom was released as a 10-episode package on Hulu.
I didn't know that, but okay.
You did know that, Ben. We've talked about it before. You didn't. You choose not to remember. But Benjamin, it was released as a 10-episode package on Hulu, and it's the last hurrah of the old guard of Marvel Television.
Huzzah!
And you know what, Ben?
Go on.
It was actually quite good. Start to finish.
As closers go.
It didn't even have the Marvel logo, Ben. I don't even know if you could claim this is in the extended Marvel Cinematic Universe.
So might you get a second season, Michael?
I don't think she will, Ben. I think that's the end of Marvel TV. It's a shame, because I actually enjoyed it and I would watch a second season.
Oh,
but,
sucks.
Benjamin, you never know. They might just show up in something else down the line, because that seems to be what Marvel is doing now.
Yeah, Kevin is like, do you know what? I'll give cameos to the Netflix people. Go on.
Everybody from Netflix, get in the real ones.
Get in the real ones. Welcome to the real MCU.
Yeah. Netflix people were making these TV shows, and they're exactly what people thought the Netflix shows were going to be. Essentially slightly longer films broken up into 6 parts.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can be in them if you want, if you're good, Charlie Cox.
Be a good boy now, Charlie.
Be a good boy, Charlie. Remember when you were in the film Stardust?
Let's not have another repeat of that.
And then you'd be like, hey, Charlie, remember when you were in the film Stardust and you weren't blind in that? What's going on? I think one of these is not true.
Well, where's the blind representation on film? I want to see a blind man doing those acrobatic stunts. A real blind man.
But Ben, I mean, you don't even get a real actor doing them. You get a stuntman. Not to say stuntmen aren't real actors. Oh no, what have I said? I was trying to divert away. I was trying to divert away from you insulting the blind community, and I've accidentally insulted the stunt community.
Very good, Michael. And of the two of them, the stunt community is more likely to come after you.
Oh, they'll come after me, all right, and they'll do a flip. They'll do a flip right over my front wall, Ben, and kick me in the head. They'll do a tightly choreographed flip and kick over a wall.
That will never actually connect.
No, yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be entirely fine. I'll exaggerate the hit. And I'll land on a mat that's off screen.
Oh, very good job from all of us, Michael.
Yes,
very good
anyway,
job.
Helstrom was quite good. I really enjoyed it. I thought the actors were good. The story was a little bit generic, but it was one of those Marvel TV shows on Hulu and ABC and all of those that had a theme and a tone and a style.
Oh, that's good, isn't it? Consistency.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it, and it's a shame that it won't get to live up to its potential and will now disappear into obscurity.
I'm sorry, Michael.
So I think, Ben, that Michael and Benjamin's podcast should champion the cause of Helstrom.
Save Helstrom?
No, not save it. Just say, give it a look. It's grand.
Helstrom season 2.
It's worth a watch. No, I'm not even going to push for it, Ben, because I don't really like that. But I do think it's worth a watch, and you should watch it if you have the opportunity.
Hashtag KevCop on.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Benjamin.
Yeah.
Speaking of 2020 television series.
Okay, we can change it to hashtag Cop on Kev.
That's better. Better.
We can make this work, Michael.
I like that Kevin Feige is clearing house from the Jeff Loeb era, Ben, because I thought overall they were tonally a mess, and they didn't really go anywhere. They didn't link together very well.
Yeah, the Defenders was just a horrific shit show, Michael. But look,
Defenders was not great.
No.
I'd like every single one of those actors to come back in future films in smaller supporting roles. Yeah,
that'll be good, Michael.
Get Daredevil in Spider-Man 3, Ben. Get him in there doing a trial and a flip. He'll do a flip.
You do a flip for him. Do a flip.
Do a kick in the head.
That'd be good. Luke Cage will be brought back for more stiff acting and righteousness.
Yeah, righteousness. Remember, he was evil at the end, Ben.
Oh yeah, and we'll never know what happened to Luke Cage.
Yeah, he probably is good again.
He'll be grand. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be get Jessica Jones back.
Which I'm actually all for. Jessica Jones, great character.
Jessica Jones was great. Just get her in something with an ensemble, so she doesn't. Jessica Jones' problem is she doesn't have a compelling villain. That was the problem with season 2 and 3.
She killed her compelling villain.
I know, and that was great. And that's what should happen with creeps like him, Ben. Watching people while they're sleeping and watching them while they're awake.
Yeah, they should have. Look. What you're saying is co-hosts should be put in prison for that kind of activity, Michael, and punished severely. I know what you're saying.
Exactly, Benjamin. Stop spinning your wheels. Let's talk about The Mandalorian. We've got a lot to get through.
Mando. So The Mandalorian wrapped up this week, Michael. This very Friday was the finale of that particular season of The Mandalorian. And Michael, I think it's fair to say now, and I know you've had your issues with it because there's a lot of cameos and a lot of draws, but fair to say, solid all season all round.
Very good season, Ben. It is worryingly heading in the direction of what I didn't want it to be. Personally speaking, because as you know, Ben, no great Star Wars fan am I.
You're not at all.
So I don't. I'm not going to spoil the last one, but I don't really care about your named characters showing up and going, "Oh, look at me! I'm more important than Mando." I want to watch a show about Mando, Ben.
Well, I think you'll still get your show about Mando, Michael, but now you're going to have an expanded Mandoverse.
Yeah. Everything's getting a show.
Everything's getting a show. I will say, Margot, that in the penultimate episode there, starring Mr. Bill Burr, I think I got my favourite piece of Star Wars kind of universe expansion. I think.
Go on.
I think that episode in live action. Now, it wouldn't be fair to say that this hadn't been introduced in the animated series or anything like this. But Michael, for the first time ever in that conversation, now spoilers for the penultimate episode of,
but not the ultimate.
The ultimate episode. The penultimate episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian, starring Mr. Bill Burr,
and Gina Carano.
But I mean, it's mostly. I mean, Bill Burr steals that show, Michael. That little cantina scene with the Imperial officer.
What's he doing in the cantina, Ben?
I'm going to be honest, Michael. Bill Burr used to fight for the Empire. Bad old Bill Burr. He was a sharpshooter for the Empire, we find out in this one. That wasn't really explained in season 1. He was just a bit of a cad.
It was. No, it was, Ben.
Oh, was it? Okay, never mind. Good old selective memory there from Benjamin.
Good. No, it's not called selective memory, Ben. It's just called forgetting.
Selective memory from Benjamin. I like it because it gives me more control.
No, just good old forgetting.
Nope. Selective memory. Anyway, thanks to my selective memory, I forgot
somewhere
that.
Between the Twin Peaks, Benjamin, of not paying attention and forgetting, lies Benjamin Colopy.
That's pretty much my entire raison d'etre. Okay, so what I really enjoyed about it, Michael, was first of all, it's the first time I've seen the Empire portrayed in any kind of human way, which I found very interesting. Aside from good old Finn, in the first kind of in the first installment of the new trilogy.
And that fellow who banged his head, remember?
There was that fellow. Oh, I banged my head. So there was that guy. But this is the first time, Michael, we see that Mando and old Billy Burr survive a pirating while they're trying to infiltrate an Imperial kind of mining facility. And all the people have... It's a recreation of the scene from the original trilogy where Luke comes back from his run and everybody's applauding and they're like, woo! Go you two blokes. Yeah. And we start to realise, Michael, hey... Maybe the Empire isn't all dickbags. Maybe it's just people trying to get by.
Well, I mean, we never knew. It's been the eternal question of where are they getting all these shiny white plastic space Nazis?
I know.
Are they people inside them, or are they all Temuera Morrison? What's going on? And, I mean, up until The Force Awakens, that was still a mystery to us, the average fan.
I seem to recall quite a number of racist articles, Michael, at the beginning of the new trilogy where people were like, stormtroopers can't be black.
Oh, good. You can't beat racism.
To which a lot of people were like, yes, they fucking can.
Nice bit of racism there.
But anyway, My favourite bit of that episode, Michael, is the scene where Billy Burr kind of has a chat with his old commander. And I didn't know Bill Burr was capable of good, proper acting. But goodness, Michael.
The actor Bill Burr.
Yeah, there's a restraint.
Yeah.
He's not an actor. He's a comedian. And he only recently got into acting. But he's very good at it, Michael. Anyway, there was a touch of pure rage bubbling underneath him throughout that scene. It was great to watch it just unfold. But what I really like about Bill Burr's character, Michael, is he starts to introduce all these questions about the Star Wars universe that kind of fuck with the morality of good versus evil, which I thought was fascinating. He starts to do this kind of thing where he's like, look, we're all people. Don't go forgetting that. I mean, yeah, you've got your code, but when push comes to shove, I mean,
what about the Force?
What about the Force? Like,
what about those sanctimonious Jedis?
That's what I mean. He's one of those real average guys. He's like, look, I'm all for your big death-defying empire crap here, but I don't know. There's people just trying to survive.
I'm just trying to make space ends meet.
Yeah, and then like there's lots of little kind of moral quandaries brought in there. You know, you did what you had to do. I never saw your face. Like, it's pretty good, Michael. I think for the first time I saw a moral grey area enter the live-action Star Wars universe, and I was a fan.
Well, let's hope, Ben, that... Well, I've got a feeling that they were trying to introduce a moral grey area in the second one. What was that called?
The Force Awakens.
No, the second one. The one no one liked. The Force Awakens. The
Last
the
Jedi.
Second, no, that was the...
In which installment? In which trilogy, Michael?
The new trilogy, the second one.
Force Awakens.
No, that was the first one.
Crap. Last Jedi. No, yeah, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, something Sith. Wasn't it?
No, the Skywalker, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Whatever
second
it was
one
called.
of the new installment. The Ryan, whatchamacallit one.
Yeah, they were trying
liked.
to introduce a bit of grey area morality in that, and then in the third one they just went, screw it, forget about it. It was Darth Sidious. Whatever.
And then,
but
then Dave Filoni said it, and Disney was like, "Oh yes, please."
Oh, thank you, David.
No.
Delicious.
Yes.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
Of course, that's not the only bad news in the world of The Mandalorian.
Sadly not, Michael. Sadly not. Jeremy Bulloch passed away. He was the original kind of body actor for for Boba Fett.
Real bad year for Star Wars actors.
Yeah, they're not doing so well. If I was Mark Hamill, I'd be shitting myself. But yeah,
well, that's your incontinence, though, Ben. It does perhaps because
selective continence. I'll have selective.
You know. Sometimes you just forget not to shit. Benjamin, this is what happens when you make a film in the late 80s and the people working on it are in their 40s. Then when you get to 40 odd years later, then everyone's in their 80s and they start dying. It is sad, though. And, you know, he apparently was a lovely guy. But, you know, Ben, a good innings.
Good. Well, he was only 75, Michael. Does that
an average innings.
Average innings, I think. But fair to say, probably an icon of the Star Wars universe. You know, Boba Fett being one of the most liked things. There was a nice little fan theory to accompany it, Michael. So in the original Star Wars trilogy, Darth Vader hires Boba Fett, and he kind of keeps him around as a bit of a right-hand man.
Yeah.
And then having seen the Clone Wars animated series, Anakin Skywalker has a very good friend in the form of one of the clones called Rex. And one fan said, do you think that Darth Vader kind of kept Boba Fett around because he had Rex's voice? And I was like, oh, that's sad. That's sad.
That is sad.
Probably not, because he was a very hateful being and probably didn't really have much room for sentiment.
Yeah, he killed a lot of kids, remember?
He did kill a lot of kids. Michael.
He was like, I'm going to kill
a
all
lot
these
of
kids. I'm going to kill them all. Look at every last one of them. This guy with the bowl haircut. This little alien fella. Yeah, look, Ben. Benjamin.
Yes.
Speaking of things that have suffered in 2020.
Me?
The cinema industry, Ben, is not doing so great.
Okay, yeah. I thought we were going to talk
about Benjamin, it is, as we're recording this, is the 20th of December 2020.
It is.
Have you been to see Wonder Woman 1984 yet?
Yeah, I think you know I haven't, Michael.
You haven't, Ben, you haven't. It is out in cinemas here, Ben, believe it or not.
What cinemas, Michael?
Exactly. View is open.
What?
Yeah, View in Liffey Valley. The View chain is open. So you could go see it if you wanted.
No, thanks.
You don't have to. I think it's on in the Stella, Ben, in Rathmines.
Oh, get out of here, Stella. A lovely cinema all the same, Michael.
It is a lovely cinema. This episode isn't sponsored by the cinema, by the way. And yeah, Cineworld is closed, obviously, because they're still having their James Bond strop.
Yeah, their tantrum.
And our local one, in our local cinematorium, shut down in April, I think.
Yeah, that was the end of the IMU. Is that what it was?
International Monetary Union.
No,
Impossible
sorry,
Mission Union.
It was the IMF.
The International Monetary Front.
Yeah.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, a lot of what's happening that's bad in the world of cinema is because the year's big tentpole. Gross.
The year's big tentpole.
I've got a big tent hole. The water keeps seeping in. Benjamin, the year's big tentpole release that was supposed to prop up the whole movie and cinema industry didn't do that great. It was the film Tenet, Ben. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I have heard of it, Michael, but I have no interest in seeing it. It never really landed with me, Michael, apart from possibly my best joke of 2020.
Your best joke of 2020, Ben, when you said 10A as the number of the apartment where director Christopher Nolan lived. It was one of your best jokes. Benjamin, it's a film from director Christopher Nolan. And Benjamin, I tell you what, it's now on streaming so everyone can see it, so now we can review it.
I don't know if anybody cares, Michael, do they?
I don't know, but I'm going to review it anyway, because I'll tell you what I did, Ben. I sat down on a Saturday night, Benjamin.
Yes.
I went to YouTube, Ben.
Okay.
I paid my $20 dollars and $9 dollar cents.
That's a lot.
$20.99.
That's a lot.
Is it?
To me, it is for a
brand new cinema release.
Michael, this is where it gets me, right? Like,
all right,
this is just a quick little side note here, right? I understand when a cinema ticket costs that much because you've got overhead, right? You've got staff, you've got electricity, you've got projection, you've got you've got your stuff that you have to deal with. That's all been taken away,
Insurance,
Michael.
Ben.
Insurance, bloody keeping the lights on, keeping the popcorn popped. Well,
the popcorn should pay for itself, Ben.
They've put all the Starburst in the packets themselves and sealed them up and put them on the shelves. And they've gone and captured the dogs and turned them into hot ones and sold them to people. There's a lot of overhead to be covered in a cinema. That's not the case when I watch it at home on my computer.
Well, here we go, Benjamin. You know as well as I do, Ben, that I've worked briefly in the cinema industry.
You have.
You know as well as anyone, Ben, that cinemas don't make their money from showing films.
I probably don't, Michael, but go on and tell me anyway.
The cinemas make a tiny fraction of money on the showing of films. Really, it's concessions that make cinemas worth running.
Get out of town.
That's how they work, Ben. That's how they do their money.
Gas.
But you know what? One of the best things in cinemas, Ben, is Coke and Pepsi.
Yeah, it is a good combo.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they lure you in with a cinema ticket.
Yes.
But almost all of that cinema ticket money just goes to paying the overheads and paying the studio.
Feck's sake.
And the cinema makes their money, Ben, by selling you very expensive but very cheap to produce Coca-Cola.
So really, it's not a 007 tantrum, it's a popcorn tantrum.
Yeah, it's that they don't have something to show to get people in to buy their popcorn and Coke.
I see. And
spend their money and pay their membership. If they can get you to join a membership, they're flying, Ben.
Oh, they've got you then.
Benjamin, you remember when you had a Cineworld card and it was €17 a month and you could see as many films as you wanted?
Yeah, that was great.
Because they don't care about how much the film costs, Ben.
That's true, Michael. That makes an awful lot more sense now.
Exactly, Ben. And, Ben, they usually have a deal with Coca-Cola, so they pay essentially nothing for selling the Coke.
That's interesting, Michael. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nothing. Coke is happy to have Coke in the cinema, Ben, in exchange for advertising.
Yeah, it's a lot of advertising.
It's a lot of advertising, Ben. If you remember, the pre-movie screening is often sponsored by Coke.
It is.
It says, don't forget, there's time to go and have a Coke before you, and a piss, but mostly a Coke before the film. Have a piss as well. But the film's going to start soon, you should probably have a Coke.
Then Mark Strong comes on and ASMRs you for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, he's like, hello, I'm Mark Strong from Scotland. Have you had a Coke and a piss?
Off you pop, and then come back.
Off you pop, have a piss, and come back and enjoy the film with a fresh Coke. That's what Mark Strong is. What are we talking about? Anyway, Ben, I've seen Tenet. I had a Coke, Ben. I got a Coke. Mark Strong here. I got a Coke in front of me. I put some popcorn on. I had some nachos, Ben, and I watched the film Tenet, Ben. And I tell you what, Ben, it was great.
Was it?
It was a fantastic film. Was it the excitement, Ben, of having a blockbuster release on my... I bought a TV this year, Ben, and it's reasonably large, and I've never had a TV before, really. So it was quite exciting just seeing it on a big screen.
That must be nice.
And I was at home, Ben. The cats were getting in the way. Every now and then, John Tenet. We never find out his name, Ben, so we're going to call him John Tenet.
Jonathan Tenet.
In the tradition of the podcast. So yeah, it's great. It's a great film. It's a decent spy action adventure film
That sounds good.
with a really interesting twist of having all the timey-wimey stuff.
So, Michael, I suppose you can't spoil it, really.
I'll spoil it a little bit, Ben, because
Yeah,
it's
go on.
been
Give
out
me
a
a little
while.
bit of the timey-wimey stuff.
So the timey-wimey stuff is, Ben, there's a terrorist.
Oh, no.
And this terrorist is an arms dealer, and he's a terrorist. And he has
Okay.
somehow found a way to reverse entropy on certain things.
Oh, right, okay.
And when you reverse entropy on certain things, Ben, they travel backwards through normal time.
Is that real physics?
Kind of. Not
Okay.
really.
Okay.
It makes some degree of sense, but it's
Okay.
explained in one sentence, and then they say, look, don't try and figure it out. Which is fair enough, because it wouldn't work in real life, obviously.
Okay.
But, Benjamin, as we go on, we find more and more things that have had this thing happen to them. So the first 45 minutes of the film, we see one backwards thing. A single bullet go backwards.
Oh.
And then we see a few more bullets, a demonstration go backwards.
Oh.
And then we have an action scene, and it's pretty much a normal action scene until a backwards man appears. And you're like, holy
out
moly,
of
there's
town.
a backwards man. This man's going backwards through time, and they're trying to have a fight with him. And it's one of the weirdest, most awkward fights you've ever seen.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then, Ben, you go through the next kind of 40 minutes or so, through every action scene, and you're sitting there going, oh, this is a good action scene. Very Christopher Nolan. Probably,
look at you, Chris.
Probably practical effects. Probably no special effects here. But I bet you something backwards is going to happen in a few minutes.
And then?
And then something backwards happens. And it's cool. And you go, this doesn't make any sense. But, Ben, the movie hits a turning point around the middle
Okay.
where we come across the machine that's doing the backwards thing.
Okay.
And then when we hit the machine that's doing the backwards thing, and this is a bit of a spoiler, Ben, so you're going to have to cover your ears.
Oh, no.
Cover your ears a little bit for the spoiler.
Okay, go on, you can just give it to me. I'm not going to watch the film.
When they go through the backwardsing machine, Ben, we
Yeah.
see a good chunk of the stuff we've seen from the perspective of the backwards way.
What? What?
And it makes sense in the other direction.
Oh, look at that.
Nom 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 delicious.
That's very you, Michael. Very up your street.
It was right up my alley, Ben. It came in right through my tent hole and
Yeah.
straight up my alley. And it was absolutely,
Jesus.
absolutely delightful. I was like, I'm enjoying this thoroughly.
Ugh.
Your favourite is in it, Ben? Robert Pattinson.
Oh, Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson plays the director Christopher Nolan.
Oh, very good. He's
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
Chrissy
plays
boy.
he plays Chris essentially. Elizabeth Debicki is in it, Ben. She's very tall.
Who's Elizabeth Debicki, man?
You might know her from being very tall.
Okay. I'll assume as much.
No, she was in your favourite film from the last decade, Ben, The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Oh, yes, I'm a big fan of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Oh, Elizabeth Debicki, tall Italian lady. Yes, very good.
She's not Italian, though. She's Australian.
No, she's not, but she is in The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
She was also in, Ben, Guardians of the Galaxy, where she played the very tall lady.
Oh, yeah, she made Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was her.
She does a tall, regal, elegant, almost alien very well.
That's her vibe, yeah. That's
her
vibe.
niche.
Yeah.
She would, Michael, embody the very the very term that you coined on this podcast, giraffe sexy.
Yeah. She's like if Gwendolyn Christie couldn't beat you up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So, Michael, today is a 10A for you.
No, it's not a 10. It is slightly overly long.
Okay, so it's a 9A.
And the protagonist, John Tenet, is a bit of a blank slate, to be honest. And I suppose that's on purpose again. He's just kind of he's great at everything. He has no flaws.
I hate that.
Yeah. And there are some scenes which are literally just exposition.
Oh, Michael.
Your favourite actor and mine, Ben, Michael Caine, is in it.
Oh, God.
And he's in it for a single scene of exposition, and that's it.
Oh, God.
So, it's not a perfect film by any stretch of imagination, but it's great. Benjamin.
Yeah.
One of the things that other reviewers have complained about is that the audio is a little bit hard to hear, and that makes the already slightly complex plot hard to follow.
Is that just because they forgot to switch their hearing aids on? Because film critics are essentially an outdated notion that have been replaced by YouTubers who make giant channels about it and more content than they could ever hope to.
There's also the fact that it's the Christopher Nolan film, and Christopher Nolan loves to have people explaining complex dialogue through masks.
Yeah, that's fair.
So everyone's wearing masks all the time, and they're talking about if we go back through the time style, then we're going to be able to get there just before this event happened in the regular flow of time. What the hell did he just say? So Benjamin, the great thing about watching it at home is I watched it on YouTube with closed captions on.
Right.
And then I could understand everything, and it was all totally clear and perfect.
Closed captions, magic.
Closed
Such
captions
a thing
are
in the
great.
modern world.
The best thing, though, Ben, about the closed captions was, the closed captions don't just tell you what people are saying, they tell you when there's a noise.
Okay.
So, like, silenced gunfire goes off, and door thuds closed, and seagulls caw. And occasionally, when they're in a public place, you'll get indistinct chatter.
Oh, I love indistinct chatter.
Exactly, Ben.
If we were ever going to make a pop culture podcast about movies, Michael, specifically looking at like things that don't often get a lot of focus, we should call it indistinct chatter. That's what we should call it.
So yeah, Ben, indistinct chatter is very important. But in this, Ben, on the closed captions, when everything's happening in reverse, it says indistinct chatter in reverse.
Oh, look what they did.
It's the absolute highlight.
That would have made your day, Michael. You love a little bit.
It did make my day, Ben. That and people running backwards awkwardly were my two favourite things about it.
Look at you. Look at you.
But Benjamin, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not labyrinthine in its labyrinthian. It's not overly complicated, I don't feel.
Labyrinthine.
And I'm not trying to be smug about it, Ben, because I'll throw my hands up in the air and say I still haven't the faintest fucking notion what happens in Primer.
Yeah, I think
I think
that's fair. I think
This is pretty clear. It's pretty clear and pretty straightforward, and they do things like they use color grading, Ben, to tell you if you're in the forward or reverse universe.
It's Nolan sci-fi, good consumable sci-fi, without too much of the heady theoretical stuff to get in the way.
Yeah, and Michael Caine explains it to you.
Yeah, and then you have Michael Caine sit there and tell you that entropy is a pain in the arse.
He doesn't actually. It's Posy, her from out of Harry Potter, Ben.
Her from out of Harry Potter.
Fleur Delacour, she tells you. She explains it to you. Good. 10 out of 10 would watch. Yeah, you remember her also, Ben, from being in Bruges.
10A would watch.
Yeah, look, I'd give it a 7, Ben. I know we don't do a system here, but I'd give it 7 Mickeys out of 10.
Okay, 7A then.
Do you have an ensuite bathroom in your bedroom?
I do, yeah.
Oh, you posh bastard.
I do, yeah.
You're so posh.
Have you never noticed that I have 2 doors?
No, I don't really pay that much attention. I would be a terrible Christopher Nolan screenwriter.
I don't know if you would. Very often there's quite a large plot hole in some Christopher Nolan things.
Oh, very good.
So I wouldn't beat yourself up too much, Michael.
Anyway, where are we going with this, Ben?
Where we're going with this, Michael, is 'tis the season, Michael. Of giving and love and none of that this year, because you can't be giving your love to anyone. Because bloody
one other household, Ben.
Is it only one household? Is it?
I think it might be 2. I don't know. What are we, a public service podcast?
I bloody hope not, because we've been doing a terrible job so far. If we are,
yes, we told people not to listen there at the start. We told them to go and listen to Welcome to Night Vale because it's better.
We made it very clear, Michael. Night Vale is the better podcast.
Oh yeah, well considerably.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Yes, go on.
Michael, 'tis the season, but since it's going to be a bloody grim season, I've decided to have a bloody grim Christmas topic, Michael.
Oh, what is it?
We're going to be taking a look at how Santa's a bit of a prick.
Oh, is he?
Well, no, we're going to take a look at the modern convention, Michael, of making Santa into a bit of a prick.
Oh, I see. That's a bit of a twist.
Yeah, for some reason, Michael, over the years, we've seen some very different representations of Santa emerge. Some very modern takes on Kris Kringle, and sometimes, Michael, they're successful. Sometimes they come off without a hitch, and sometimes you're left there scratching your head, going, "Why did you have to piss on such a happy childhood thing? Why did you have to do that? Why'd
you do that, or Kelly?
Why were you mean? Why were you mean with it?" So, Michael, that's what we're going to do.
Okay, let's do it then.
Yeah, it's pretty
Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
I've just come off my bloody spaceship.
Yeah, Michael.
I've just off my spaceship from the planet Under a Rock. Ben, I've been living on Under a Rock for quite a long time at this stage.
Very good, Michael.
Thank you. It's a science fiction twist on the old saying.
Would we spell Under a Rock with an A or AK at the end?
Yeah. It's just a coincidence that it sounds like the expression living under a rock.
Excellent.
And Benjamin, I've no idea who this Santa Claus fella is, so why don't you, Ben, tell me, who even is Santa Claus?
So, Michael, I went around and I had a look here now at what this whole Santa Claus thing is. In a modern context, Michael, and by modern context, I'm playing very loosely with the term, from around the Victorian period onward.
Oh, the early modern period.
The early modern period, Michael. The old Santa Claus became a figure of mythic and jovial proportion, and he would travel around the world in but a single evening, Michael, one Christmas Eve, and he would deliver gifts to all the boys and the girls.
The Christian boys and girls.
The Christian boys and girls, Michael, very good, because he's a very Western-centric figure. But, Michael, that wasn't always the case, so I had to go digging into this concept.
Oh, you did a deep dive.
I did a deep dive, and I'm sure many people already know this, but for people who might not know, Michael, he's based on St. Nicholas. And St. Nicholas gets bloody interesting. So we had St. Nicholas and we have St. Nicholas's Day, which is the feast day is the 19th of December. So not quite the one that we're familiar with.
That's yesterday, Ben.
Yesterday, Michael. Would have been more apt to do today, but look, what are we gonna do? Change hundreds of years of Christian tradition just for our podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So St. Nicholas is the original it's based on, and then that his kind of legend spread through Dutch colonies, Michael, and he became known as Sinterklaas, and that became Santa Claus as we kind of anglicized things moving forward. But Michael, I had to dig into St. Nicholas, and good fuck, what a strange saint.
Go on. What did he do?
So
mad shit.
He's commonly known as Saint Nick the Miracle Maker.
Right.
Right. He was born under the Byzantine Empire.
Okay.
And
the Eastern Roman Empire. Ben.
The Eastern Roman Empire, Michael, in around the 3rd century, give or take. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Now,
was he real, Ben, or was he made up like St. Patrick?
Apparently he's real, Michael, but all the stories are almost definitely made up, Michael.
Okay.
As a secular podcast, you and I would probably find it a little difficult to get into some of the tales that we're told. So let's go through some of them, Michael.
Right.
It's not hard to see why he became such a popular figure within for children and kind of a saint of childhood, because some of his stories are heavily based around saving the chidlers from horrific fates.
From Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, exactly, from Anakin Skywalker. So he has a lovely kind of jolly green and red lightsaber that he uses to fight off Anakin and save the kids.
Very good.
And then they decided to immortalize him and canonize him within the Christian faith. He also, Michael, when he wasn't doing that, one of the tales is where he saved 3 young girls from prostitution.
Okay, good.
Just 3. He left the rest.
Like Denzel Washington in the film The Equalizer.
Yeah, I suppose. He has a touch of the Denzels about him.
Okay, good.
Touch of the Denzels. So there is that kind of Mandalorian Equalizer-esque quality of Saint Nick swaggers into town and kind of begrudgingly does a deed.
Oh, good. I like this.
To save the lads. So in another one, Michael, he has an owl argument with the sea to calm it from swallowing a town.
Okay. Seems difficult.
It does, doesn't it? In another one, Michael, he slaps a heretic in a village square and it converts him.
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, you have, but it's mostly out of fear that you convert people. I think the Lord genuinely intervenes in this tale. In
this case. Right.
There are 3 little soldiers, Michael, who have been wrongly accused, and good old Saint Nick swaggers into town and he's like, hey, they're innocent. And everyone's like, okay, cool. Grant.
Oh, sweet. Glad we got that sorted.
But then, Michael, comes the tale that will keep me awake for years to come. So,
go on.
Michael, times in the 3rd century aren't great. Okay.
What's going on?
Food scarcity is a problem.
Yeah.
Nutritious, good, wholesome meals are a problem. Healthy
Barbarians.
livestock tend to be a problem if you can keep them long enough before the bloody barbarians swing on in. It's tough times to be alive. So if you're a butcher, Michael...
The Vandals, Ben.
The vandals, goddamn vandals, Michael.
The
All
goths.
that graffiti and goths playing their bloody Robert Smith on the radio.
Yeah,
It's just terrible.
hanging around the central bank.
Hanging around the central bank on their skateboards. Terrible.
The Visigoths, Ben.
The ones that wear high-vis jackets while they're on their skateboards,
exactly.
Michael. Very good.
As opposed to the Invisigoths.
Which are just a pain in the arse, and you can only spot them by their deep, yearning sighs.
Very good. Take that, Goths. We got you. We took Goths down a notch, Ben.
I think there are one or two goths that listen, so...
Yeah, well, we took them down a notch.
Sorry, lads. Anyway, if you're a butcher at this time, Michael, that might make things a little bit hard to find a good quality meat source for your business.
Right.
And if you were, say, morally flexible, or some would say amoral, you might go into the streets, find 3 orphan children that wandered the streets, and chop them up and brine them to be sold as treats.
Give them the old Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, give them the old Sweeney Todd, Michael. Give them the old Sweeney Todd.
Right.
Now, you might be unlucky and you might have your wares set up and you might be shouting, "Oh, fresh meat here." And when people say, "What kind of meat is it?" Never you fucking mind. Do you want one or not?
Yeah, I'll tell you what it isn't. It's not children anyway.
And I tell you, no, that's not suspicious. Anyway, he tries this on old St. Nick, and St. Nick is like, "It's weird that you said that it wasn't children." And the butcher is
Very
like,
specifically, yeah.
No, it's not. It's not weird that I said that. And he goes, "Yeah, it is kind of weird that you said that." So anyway, he reaches up there to the Lord and he says, "Here, come here to me, Lord.
Yeah.
What's this all about? You trust this guy? You trust this guy?" And God is like, "I bloody fucking wouldn't."
I'll tell you what, St. Nicholas, that's children.
That's bloody kids. So St. Nick gives the fingers now click, Michael.
Right.
And the children are reconstituted from the brine and put back together.
Well, I tell you what, Ben, that's an utterly horrifying image.
Isn't it?
I wouldn't want to see that.
Worst?
I would not like to witness that event.
The children are reconstituted from the snacks.
Ugh.
What if somebody already bought one?
Did it come out?
Isn't that the stuff of fucking nightmares, Michael?
Absolutely terrifying, Ben.
So, that's St. Nick, as we understand him, Michael. You'll notice there's not a lot about fucking gifts.
Benjamin, but doesn't Santa Claus combine aspects of Father Christmas as well? Wasn't he a different character?
Yeah, so he's a Nordic kind of myth that got meshed together. So this is where Poland comes in.
Oh, classic Poland. Yeah,
And
The Witcher.
Eastern Europe in general kind of comes in. And they have St. Nicholas's Day. And the tradition on St. Nicholas's Day is to dress up in the garb of a red bishop.
Oh.
Okay. And in that garb of the red bishop, gifts are left under the pillows of children. So a bit like a very flamboyant tooth fairy.
Okay. I'm all right with that.
You know, and that's where that tradition comes in. But that does constitute some elements of Father Christmas, Father Winter as well. The spirit of the North and pagan mythology is kind of infused in there as well. They all get kind of horsed together, lashed together, and brought forward for the Christmas tradition we know today. Now, as we understand it, Michael, that's all then Victorian shaping. So the Victorians get their hands on this and they're like, well, this is bloody good for commercialism, hey? Hey?
Let's put it all together.
Let's put it all together. Commission that man to write a big old poem there, and we'll
put it all
create a
together.
tradition.
Make a factory as well out of it. Put people in the factory to work. Children, even.
Yeah, look how happy the elves are when they work non-stop for no pay, huh? Don't you want to be that happy? Get in there.
Yeah, let's get them in there. Get in there.
So the modern tradition is far more us. But then the modern personality, Michael, is all Charles Dickens.
Old Charlie D.
The old Charlie D, that kind of ghost of Christmas present was hugely influential on the kind of jolly, jovial personality that we've come to know today. And so that's where all that's kind of shaped from, Michael. But Michael,
Yes.
it's 2020.
Yeah, things are a bit grim.
Things are a bit grim, and to be honest with you, what with postmodernism being the dick that it is, and pissing in cornflakes of children being the norm for R. Kelly, we've not let that happy image stay untarnished, shall we say. Over time, Michael, he became exceptionally commercialized by American companies who created the concept of Kris Kringle.
Okay. Kingle or Kringle?
Kringle, Kris Kringle. You're right. Sorry.
Kringle or
misspoke.
Kingle?
Chris
Kindle.
Kegel.
Chris Kindle.
Chris Kegels. And
Chris
his
Kindle.
amazing vaginal rejuvenation workout.
No, good. No.
Yeah.
Don't like that one, Ben. That's one of my least favourite jokes.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I got you. Keep going with it.
So anyway, Chris Kringle or Chris Kindle, depending on who you talk to, is created, and he becomes the kind of American mascot for Christmas. Buy stuff or your kids won't love you, etc., etc., etc. And so I suppose that left the sour taste in the mouth of a lot of people, because then Christmas became less of a family thing and more of a very stressful time. If you take a look at those early 90s movies, Michael, there's a lot of pressure on parents to get the right gift.
Everyone's always stressed out.
Yeah, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger had a right old time of it.
He's so stressed out he had to fight Sinbad.
He had to fight Sinbad, and nobody wanted to fight Sinbad at the time.
The Home Alone family were so stressed out by Christmas they forgot Kevin.
They forgot Kevin. That's no good.
Yeah, it's just Christmas films are about being stressed out.
And that trend began to emerge in the 90s. And then, I suppose, pushing into the 2000s, we suddenly began to see, the late 90s and the 2000s, we suddenly began to see, Michael, a bloody onslaught of kind of twisted Santas.
Go on.
Because people went digging around in the mythology a little bit more, and they found other versions of Santa Claus, and they were like, right,
go on.
So the most famous one now, I suppose, is Krampus.
Yeah, he's a prick.
Who is the German kind of anti-Santa. And in some versions of the myth, Santa punishes you by giving you a lump of coal. In other versions of the myth, he says, here, goat-headed fella that looks like a demon's wet dream, will you just go and put that kid in your sack there and drag him down to your workshop to make toys? And
no, that's much worse.
And you go, oh. And you start to think that maybe the man who reconstituted children from Pickle Brine and Krampus would have gotten on.
Yeah, they're good mates.
Similarly grim pairs. And those have kind of evolved into other things, Michael. There's Black Peter, which is very racist.
Well, I mean, hold on a second. That's a bit of a sweeping statement to just launch into there.
Go on.
I don't know enough about Black Peter to say it's definitely not racist, but I know that a lot of Dutch people would defend it as not racist.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right,
some of their depictions are to say that they're gollywoggish. Would not be a stretch, Michael. You can take a look as you're going through. And while I'm all for tradition, Michael, some traditions should be modernized, perhaps so as not to offend people as we go forward. But that's a whole different kettle of fish, Michael. We're here to talk about bad Santas. That's a very different kettle of fish.
Who's offended by Black Peter?
Assumedly black people.
Well, let's ask some. We'll ask some and get back to you.
Lads, if anybody's out there and you're a black person, could you let us know if Black Peter, the Dutch kind of tradition and figure, offends you? That would be great.
Yeah, or don't let us know. Whatever suits you.
We'll do an Instagram poll. We'll do an Instagram poll.
All right. All right, you're opening a can of worms there.
That's my funeral. But, let's have a look as we go along. So, Michael, what I've done is I've kind of taken a look at how that kind of distaste for Christmas and that stressful Christmas has transformed into a new narrative. And one of the things that seems to come up for these new Saint Nics is they're very anti-greed and they feel like humanity has lost its way. So when we see a negative representation of Santa Claus, an angry Santa or a bad Santa, usually they're very anti-humans because humans have become so damn greedy.
Yeah, and they've forgotten the meaning of Christmas. Which is buying stuff.
Now, the first one on my list, Michael, is one chosen specifically for you and one Rachel.
I know her.
Because it stars...
The original glamorous lady of podcasting.
Yes, the original glamorous lady of podcasting, OG Glop. She would be a fan of this because it stars one wrestling's own Goldberg.
Goldberg, Ben. So, let me tell you about Goldberg, Ben. Goldberg is not beloved in the world of wrestling.
Oh, good.
Goldberg was a very stiff wrestler, Ben. And stiff is a wrestling term for liable to hurt people.
Oh, no.
He hits a bit too hard and he was dangerous. Not beloved in the world of wrestling, Goldberg, Ben. Very popular in the kind of casual world of wrestling.
That'd be me then.
Yeah. But apparently, not beloved within the industry. But apparently things improved later. Anyway, that's enough wrestling talk, Ben. Tell us about the film with Goldberg.
Well, Michael, he's not much beloved in this either, because in this particular version, he's in a movie called Santa's Sleigh. Now, Michael, you and I love a bit of wordplay. It's sleigh as in S-L-A-Y.
Oh, not Slage.
No, not Slage, as it would be
Okay,
traditionally
that's
be
clever,
spelled.
yeah.
And Michael, this is twisted, right? So in this version, Santa Claus is a bit of a demon.
Right.
And he lost a battle with an angel, and as punishment, for 1,000 years, this demon was forced to give presents to children.
Oh, and he didn't want to.
And he never wanted to. But in 2005, Michael, when this movie was released, that deal is up. And Santa rides again as a murderous kind of demon of the underworld.
Ooh.
And it's pretty interesting, Michael. It's pretty interesting. Are we going to do spoilers? You want to do spoilers for it?
Yeah, you can do spoilers. Spoilers for a 2005 horror film.
So the main character's grandfather is the angel that once tricked Saint Nick. So his grandfather is the target of this evil Santa played by Goldberg. And it's bizarre. Goldberg is having the best time. He is just enjoying being an absolute cock from start to finish. And it's bizarre, Michael. It's a very twisted version of Santa.
And does he have sleeveless shirts?
He does at one point have a sleeveless Santa mock, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's most important.
I think
that's the most important
he has it
thing.
for a quick scene as a little kind of, we know who we got. We know who's in the role. And yeah, so that brought me to that. But that's a very mythic representation, Michael. And I think that's when people delve around the mythology of it and they find them and they're like, oh, look how evil this is. Because the other one that I had to take a look at this week, Michael, was Krampus.
Oh.
And Krampus is a full horror movie. The Santa Sleigh one is tongue-in-cheek. It's a little bit of banter. It's kind of a B-movie, knows what it's at kind of gig. But my God, Michael, Krampus is the stuff of goddamn nightmares.
He's coming to get you, Ben.
Now, for me, Michael, it's very similar to Hereditary. Now, it has Toni Collette in it, so fair enough. That might just be the association I'm making there.
So did Knives Out, though, Ben. And you didn't keep saying that was similar to Hereditary.
It's true, I didn't, Michael. And I'll tell you why I think they're very similar and why in some ways Krampus is a predecessor to Hereditary. So, in the world of Krampus, there's a little boy.
There always is.
And his family doesn't get on at Christmas.
They never do.
The aforementioned stress of Christmas is rampant within his household. And he makes a wish on the bauble. He has an old German grandmother.
There's always one.
A first generation immigrant. And she gives him an heirloom, a family heirloom, right? And the family heirloom is very different to the Christmas decorations that he normally sees. It's a carved wooden figure, and he looks a bit terrifying.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of that. Don't give me that.
And it's a bloody Krampus. And then Grandma, for some reason, decides to tell him the tale of Krampus. And Krampus will take you away if you don't believe in the Christmas spirit. So she doesn't, Michael, conveniently include a little warning about making a wish on this ornament, which might come true. So what does the little fella do? He says, I wish my family would get along at Christmas. And what does that invoke? Krampus. So Krampus appears, Michael.
That seems like a fairly harmless wish, though, Ben.
I know, but not to Krampus. Krampus is a very literal wish taker.
Okay.
And so the family is forced to kind of find the Christmas spirit. Only, Michael, if they don't, they're horrifically destroyed.
Oh, good.
It's pretty grim. It has a really twisted ending as well. And I probably won't go into the ending on this one because it'll just spoil it. But go check that one out, guys, if you really want your Christmas spirit kind of just destroyed.
Dampened.
It's dark. Like, the representation of Krampus is amazing as well. It's all practical effects. So he's pretty darn spooky, Michael.
Benjamin.
Yes.
Speaking of Christmas time horrors and destroying the story of Santa Claus, have you ever seen the film Gremlins?
Gremlins?
Gremlins.
Believe it or not, Michael, I have actually never seen.
You've never seen the film Gremlins by Christopher Christopherson?
Nope.
That's definitely not right.
Never seen it.
You've never seen the film Gremlins, Ben?
Nope.
Well, let me tell you, Ben, Gremlins is probably the best Christmas horror comedy stress film you'll ever see.
Go on, tell me more.
Because it's about a boy and he gets a little pet, Ben, a little gizmo.
Oh, Gizmo. I know who
And
Gizmo
Gizmo,
is.
if you get him wet or if he eats after midnight and so on, there's lots of rules you have to follow or else it makes loads of gremlins.
Oh, not
And the
Gremlins.
Yeah, and they come out and they're absolute pricks. And they start wrecking the place and killing everyone at Christmas time.
Oh, no.
But, Benjamin, the reason that I'm talking about this now is because we're talking about Santa and stressful Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you a little story, Ben. Gremlins, the film Gremlins,
Yes.
is the moment of my life that confirmed for me that Santa Claus wasn't real.
Oh.
Yeah, because Ben, in it, one of the main characters, Kate the lady, tells the story about why she hates Christmas, because she hates Christmas throughout the whole film.
Right.
And eventually it's revealed in this that one Christmas, her dad was dressing up as Santa to come down the chimney and surprise them on Christmas Eve. Only he fell and broke his neck and died in the chimney pot.
Jesus.
And his body remained there for days, with them having no idea where Dad had gone at Christmas time.
What the fuck?
And they didn't notice until they tried to light a fire and all the smoke came back down. And they got it checked and there was dead Dad dressed as Santa.
Oh.
And that's why the character of Kate hates Christmas and Santa Claus.
I mean,
and
fair.
Yeah, fair enough. Childhood trauma and all.
Yeah. Fucking hell, that's dark.
Yeah, very dark. And I that has stayed with me, Ben, for what? I don't know. How old was I when I saw that? 10, I guess?
Oh.
And I remember that, Ben, nearly 30 years later.
God bless you. You all right?
I'm fine.
Harrowing.
I'm fine. It wasn't my story, remember. That happened to the fictional character.
I know, but
that
Jesus Christ, so mean.
Oh, it's so mean. It's so mean. And a lot of people have a problem with it. It's like the meanest
They
moment in
should.
an already mean film. And you're like, ugh, gross, Santa, dead, chimney, dad, gross, horrible.
I thought Pickle Brine Children was the low point of my day.
No, there's that story too. No, but she's a fictional character, so it's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, let's keep going then. Fucking hell. That Krampus legend has influenced other things, Michael. Things that you love.
I love stuff.
There's bloody Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, I like Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Santa Claus is mentioned in the most passing of moments by Anya in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Anya the demon, Michael.
Yeah.
And she says, "Oh no, Santa Claus is real." And like everybody's like, "Oh, what, really?" And then she's like, "Yeah, he disembowels children. It's a whole thing. He's a demon that comes down chimneys and disembowels children." And you're "Oh, okay."
I'll get rid of him.
And so it became a bit of a skit in the various shows that we kind of watch and consume these days. That Santa is a lot more sinister than they'd have to believe. It kind of goes with that fairy tales are always darker trope that we encounter a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And that's popped up. He's popped up in Supernatural, the pagan
I was
rituals.
just about to ask, Ben.
Yeah. So there are very early pagan rituals in I think season 1. It might even be season 1 of Supernatural, where there are two old pagan gods that have co-opted kind of American Christmas to fulfill their ritual, so they can be worshipped.
Yeah, didn't they have to be killed with walnut or something?
Yeah, I think it's holly. I think they have to be killed with
the
holly or
I think that was season 7 or 8, Ben. Your chronological memory of
Oh no, there's definitely an earlier Supernatural one. Hang on.
Is there?
Yeah, hang on.
It doesn't matter. We'll look it up later.
Doesn't matter. We'll look it up later. But that kind of little nod, we get another little nod to Santa Claus's true identity later in season 10 for a very supernatural Christmas, where he's revealed to be kind of a distant relative to archangels.
Oh.
And he's kind of a good or a bad thing, Michael. And then, Michael, comes the super American commercial mall Santa.
Yeah, go on.
And there must be an uncanny valley quality to this, or there must be some kind of... A lot of people that write these must have unresolved issues with mall Santas.
Yeah.
Now, Michael, as you and I know, mall Santas are the men who dress up as Santa Claus, sit in the mall, and listen to children whose parents have paid money for them to talk to Santa. Okay?
Yeah. Now, we would call a mall a shopping centre.
So, yeah, it's a shopping centre Santa.
Just for the people listening.
And I'll be honest, Michael, I never enjoyed that experience as a child. If you find those photographs of me sitting on Santa's lap, I'm crying in every one.
I'd like to see that.
I will post it on the Instagram later.
Very important.
This week.
Benjamin, little side note here. When you were growing up, did you call him Santa or Santy?
Santa.
Santa?
Yeah, it's a very strict rule in this house.
Millennial lunatics.
You call him Santy?
He was Santy in my house, yes.
Guess. Anyway, the mall Santa becomes this...
Or the shopping centre Santy.
The shopping centre Santy becomes this
Yeah.
sinister figure in modern kind of interpretations. So the one that everybody points to is Billy Bob Thornton in Bad Santa.
Because that's about a bad Santa.
And he's just... They're always washed up schlubs.
Yeah,
it seems
even
to be
in
a
Home
thing.
Alone, Ben.
Even in Home Alone.
He goes and he tries to meet a nice Santa, and the Santa's like, "Oh, geez, kid, my elf gave all the candy canes to her boyfriend."
Yeah, so they become this like embodiment of the cynicism of the season or something. It's bizarre. But Michael, sometimes it's kind of harmless, and you have your bad Santa for witty repartee, and sometimes they make slasher films out of them. So there was a famous slasher film in the 80s called Silent Night. Where mall Santa or shopping centre Santy kind of goes berserk and murders people with Christmas goods.
Shopping centre Santy is the name of this episode, Ben.
Yeah, that's probably what we're going to call it now, Michael. That's fair enough. But then, Michael, it all gets a bit darker when we look at even more modern representations like Happy on the Sci-Fi Channel. So,
haven't seen it, Ben. You're always going on about it, and I'm always saying, Ben, I'm not going to watch it. Stop recommending it to me.
Weekranty M wrote a comic book called Happy about a down-and-out detective who has to rescue the daughter he never knew he had from a sex trafficking operation run by a Santa. And yeah, it's as bad as it sounds. So the Sci-Fi Channel picked this up, decided to pour acid all over it, the drug, not the dangerous melty thing.
Okay.
And it stars Christopher Mellioni. It's absolutely balls to the wall mental. But the main villain, the kind of the creepiest thing, is a kind of, I suppose you'd call him a serial killer paedophile. Is that what you call him?
Oh, great. Yeah, that's a good combination, isn't it?
And he's obsessed with Christmas. So he dresses up as this big dishevelled Santa Claus to lure children in.
Oh, I don't like it.
And then he lobotomizes them to keep them forever.
No, I don't like that at all.
It's shocking. It's an inversion of the trope, and it's genuinely one of the worst things you will ever witness, Michael.
No, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want to, and I don't blame you at all. And then, Michael, just to wrap us up, I suppose, then we saw the kind of normalization of Santa. And so we've moved away from mythic figures and kind of paragons for different things, and then we see a very human Santa, and that's emerged in the last couple of years. The most common one for me, Michael, or the kind of formative one in my way of thinking this, was Tim Allen's Santa Claus.
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Yeah, which I think has spawned, what is it, 3 sequels?
3, I think it's 2 sequels. I think it's Santa Claus, the Santa Claus 2, Go Kidnap a Wife, and the Santa Claus 3, Watch Out, Here Comes Jack Frost.
Yeah, watch out, here comes Martin Short. Yeah, and in that, Michael, it's the most 90s thing I could conjure. I'm a business guy, and I don't believe in Christmas, and I'll never get this spirit.
I don't spend enough time with my kids.
Oh. But
what's the noise Tim Allen does?
I don't. Isn't it that?
Yeah,
isn't
that's
that
the one. Yeah. That was it. That was what I was going for.
And yeah, so it turns out that the Santa Claus is a legal clause.
Oh, very clever.
Very 90s. So peak 90s, Michael. Everything is law. And basically Santa can die, but whoever kills Santa takes the mantle.
Yeah, great idea. Terrifying horror.
Terrifying idea. Kill Santa, become Santa. Very Chronicles of Riddick, Michael. With a little bit of... I've now realised that all I want for Christmas is Vin Diesel as Santa Claus in that storyline.
I'm not convinced that has never happened. Maybe there's an alternative universe, but I'm just going to look it up to make sure that film doesn't exist already. You spin your wheels while I do that.
But in that, Michael, it's kind of a very modern Santa in that we have a broken family, in the form of Tim Allen. He's separated from his wife. He has Charlie, his son. And Tim Allen doesn't want to be Santa Claus. And over the course of the film, through very human means, he learns the true spirit of Christmas and bonding with your son. But this is where we begin to see that kind of human Santa. Santa's just a lad. And that gets pretty interesting from there. But Michael, where this has reached a peak, and what really gave me inspiration for this, is Mel Gibson's recent outing, The Fat Man.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I have. And it's just weird. So there's a Jewish kid.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like Santa because Santa doesn't deliver to Jewish kids.
Yeah, that's racist, but go on.
It's Mel Gibson. We're fairly certain that Jews were going to be the villain in one form or another.
Oh, yeah, this is a Mel Gibson film about a Jewish kid. I have to see this.
Yeah, you're going to have to watch this, Michael. So, taking umbrage to this, the Jewish kid hires a hitman to take out Santa.
Oh.
And that comes in the form of Walter Goggins, noted character actor Walter Goggins.
It's Walton.
You know who he is? Or
Walton Goggins.
Walton, is it? Walton
His
Goggins.
name's Walton.
I think I prefer Walter Goggins, but Walton Goggins
I prefer him too, but he's much less famous.
He's much less famous. So Walton Goggins takes on the role, and he kind of tracks down Santa, and Santa finds himself in a kind of standoff with this assassin. But wait, it turns out Santa's a tough old son of a gun with a military background.
Oh.
So it's a real standoff.
And this is the real Santa.
Yeah, and Santa's kind of given up as well. He's jaded and tired, and oh man, it's a weird film, Michael. I strongly recommend you watch it, but again, not if you want your Christmas spirit kept intact. Intact.
Very good.
I don't know why my
Where'd your tea go, Ben?
I don't know. I was like, my mouth just
Where'd it
stopped
go?
working. Look, Michael, it's the end of 2020. I'm tired too. So that's it for me, Michael. That's all I've got here. I am leaving this conversation now with the image of a man stuffed up a chimney, having died for his children.
Yeah. Oh. Gross and horrible.
God.
One of the most gross and horrible Santas.
The only weirder thing to that would be if they then pickled and brined him for memory's sake.
Yeah, or sold them to people as treats.
Oh God. Anyway, so that's the world of Santa Clauses and how cynical he's become. It's very, very strange. Ladies and gentlemen,
yes.
Who did we miss? Who are your favourite bad Santas? Do get in touch with us in the following places. You can find us on the interwebs at www.seomrabeag.com, SEOMRABEAG.com.
Means tiny room in Irish.
Or you can probably find us on the Instagram at Seomrabeag. Same spelling.
Same meaning.
Same bloody meaning. You can let us know what you think. If you have any episodes you'd like to hear us do in 2021, do give us them now. We will be doing a little Instagram rally campaign at the beginning of the thing, because Michael is running for President of Ireland this year, and I need ideas for the podcast to fill up the calendar.
Beagledy for 2021.
Yep, that's how it's going to go. And I suppose the only other note that we'd like to end on this year, ladies and gentlemen, is the best Christmas gift you could give us is a review on whatever platform you enjoy this podcast on, because it would really be helping us out. We really appreciate you all sticking with us throughout the year and giving us content ideas and engaging with us. It's really made the year that little bit easier.
Or sometimes more difficult.
Or sometimes more difficult if you gave us a difficult one that I had to go and research.
Like when Ben had to watch horror films.
Oh, God, that was the worst.
Or Lex, when you had to watch Lex. You weren't best pleased with that.
No, Lex was terrible. That was your idea, not the listeners.
I blame the listeners, Ben. If in doubt, blame the listeners.
Yeah, when in doubt, blame the listeners. We'll get that on a t-shirt for 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it for us this year. You will hear from us in the new year, where our first episode back will be the Mickeys.
The Mickey 2020. We're doing a retrospective. It's going to be short.
Where we take a look at the best and worst of 2020. Mostly the worst, because God almighty.
I'll tell you what, Ben, we'll be doing this joke a few times, but the worst of 2020 was definitely 2020.
Ding. Remember when it was simple things like bloody...
What's the best film?
And, who's the bad egg of the year? And it's...
Yeah, everyone this year.
Yeah. It's just life.
That lad in China who ate that bat.
On a more genuine note, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have a good Christmas season and that you get to see the family that you want to see. One household. Don't forget one household.
No, I think it's 2, Ben. Don't give out public health advice if it's wrong.
Okay, wrong public advice, all from me. But do have a good Christmas and hopefully you get to see the people that you want to see over the Christmas period. That's it from us, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye and a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.